Welcome to Compassion Speaks, where we give a voice to the nonprofit in the community. I'm your new host, Ezra Borrego, and today we have Maggie Heath as our guest. She's with the Veterans Village up in Lakeside. So how is that going up there right now in the Veterans Village, as you have done a lot of different things there? Since I saw it when it was vacant, there's a lot of action going on there. Tell me a little bit about what's going on.
It's busy. We have 18 cabins. We have 3 left to complete the work to make them livable. We have 14 veterans, 1 spouse, and 4 children living there.
Wow.
And a lot of work to do. It's come a long way from the 4-foot weeds and the boarded up broken windows and what you saw when we started. But we're taking 1 cabin at a time and making them at least livable, and then trying to move on to the next one. And then next year we'll go through and we'll take another challenge on every cabin and try to get them a little bit more completed and looking a little nicer than what they were.
Sounds like I got a big start on this from the first time I saw it. So what got you going in doing this? I know you're out at Concho for a little while and you moved everything out this way. It was Walking Down Ranch out in Concho.
Right.
And I think you were saying that that's your 501c3 that's under the Walking Down Ranch?
Mm-hmm. An Arizona 501c3. And we started in Concho because the 3 of us that started this lived in Concho.
Okay.
We were all members of the American Legion, VFW, stuff like that, and just didn't feel like there was enough being done to help the veterans where they needed the help. Ann and Al Avenenti and I started it. Wes Myers, who we lost recently, was our treasurer. And we just started sitting at the food bank and giving items to the veterans, clothes and dog food and vehicle parts and gasoline and propane and paper goods that, as you know, if you're on an assisted card, a food stamp card or any assistance, these items aren't even purchasable.
Right.
They're,
right.
you know, you cannot utilize that money for those items that you need. And so that's where we started, and then we decided we needed more help than we were giving. And so we started with the property in Concho, and that fell through. And in June of 2017, the East Mesa Firefighter Charities called and asked us if we would be interested in the old Rainbow Lodge cabins. They were going to turn that into a children's camp. And being out of East Mesa, it was difficult for them to come up every time there was vandalism, every time there was an issue. So it worked out good for both of us.
Yeah, and it's right downtown Lakeside.
Perfect location.
It is. So give me a little bit of background where you got your desire to really help our awesome veterans. I wore my shirt with a flag on it to be able to pay tribute to the veterans. Every time I see a veteran anywhere, I always thank them for serving our country.
And they appreciate that. They really do. But you know, it just was an awareness issue with us, that there was so much that needed to be done, and there was no facility, there was no organization that could actually step in and take care of these needs. And so we knew there was a lot of them living in vehicles, living in tents, living in caves. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And so we just had this thing, if we could build a hotel type of a situation or find a facility that we could use, then that's what we wanted to do. And we raised the money to get the 501c3 through bake sales and yard sales and that stuff, and then eventually decided that we needed to start saving for property when the old Rainbow Lodge cabins or the East Mesa firefighters came to us. And it was perfect because we can house them, they're safe, they have a clean bed, a full stomach, and they have the facilities they need. The grocery store is close, the hospital, the VA.
Yeah.
So it was just a perfect situation.
Yeah, you have a neat program going on there, and how it's funded also on how you bring monies in is you have an awesome thrift store there that you developed. What did it take to get that going, the thrift store? Did you have something like that out there at Concho? Not at all?
No, we had nothing. Our funding was strictly, our little craft things or donations. And at this point, we still have no grants. We're just donations and the thrift store. But we took this lease in December of 2017. And in February, Valentine's Day, we opened the thrift store.
Wow.
And a lot of donations and a lot of help. Baker's Office Supply, when they went out, they were the ones that donated all the shelving, display cabinets and everything to us.
Good for them.
And so for a month and a half, we were in there working like troopers and finally got that opened. And it has done wonderful because the community has supported it 100%. And the donations are overwhelming. And so the thrift store has paid our utility bills.
Wow.
Everyone there is volunteers, so we don't have salaries. We don't have a huge rent overhead. So everything that we have done there has been for the benefit of the veterans. Every penny stays on that property. And it's bought water heaters, it's bought stoves. We just bought all brand new refrigerators for all the units because the ones that were in there were like 30 years old. Remember your grandmother tipping the ice out of them and
defrost them and all that. Yeah.
And so that just got to be, too much of a hassle with one breaking every day or something. So we bit the bullet and bought new refrigerators. But the thrift store has just been our blood supply, so to speak, to the cabins.
That's awesome. You have that income constantly coming in, but you have other donations that people anonymously bring in also sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So on your cabins you talked about, some of them or all of them are basically have a name on the outside from a former veteran. Is that correct? Or former?
From a sponsor.
From a sponsor. So that is from a sponsor, the plaque that's outside the door?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so the way we started this is the sponsorship for a cabin is $3,000.
Okay.
And that was a low estimate on our part to pay to replace the broken doors, the broken windows. When they were vandalized, the cabinets and the stoves and everything inside were, the kids took sledgehammers in there and destroyed everything. And we actually filled 2 6-ton roll-offs, and I don't know how many trips to the dump to clean the cabins out to get started. And so all the windows have been replaced and a lot of the minor repairs, but sinks that were smashed and toilets that were smashed and so like I say, one cabin at a time, we've gone in and replaced what we've needed to replace. We also have put a lot of money into putting in a brand new water and sewer main and gone off of the main into every cabin as we've gone down the line and replaced all of the old water lines inside.
Wow.
Because the buildings were never winterized, and so we've had, pipes that exploded and cracked and whatever. So, and that we could never have done without grinder pump and plumbing, because we dug 2 weeks and got like 15 feet down the driveway with a ditch by hand. And he came in with his heavy equipment in one day and dug 2,000 feet
Wow.
of sewer line trench for us, and
That is awesome.
supplied a lot of the piping and everything, and plumbers and pipe fitters and whatever we needed. And I mean, that was just extremely, helpful, and you wouldn't believe the rocks in that area. Even the guys working on the ditch, they're knee deep in the ditch, and they said, my God, they never imagined the rocks that were on that property.
It's all that, is it Malapai that's on there?
Everything.
The volcanic?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's everything. So, I mean, people have jumped up and helped us, but the sponsorship of the cabins has has gone wonderfully. Some of the people that sponsored it, they'll put their family name on it, or someone who has passed in their family, or just we have in memory of the POWs, in memory of the, the fallen veterans. So they have their choice, and they have a choice of taking that sponsorship up into the next year. And so next year our plan is to have to re-chink the outside of all of the buildings.
Okay.
We have one or two that need some roofing done. K Supply gave us a whole pallet full of shingles, but I have to have manpower to put them on the roof. So it's just one step at a time.
You know, the thing is there's a lot of good people on the mountain up here. Once they find out what's going on and the word spreads, that's when people will want to come help. You know, that's probably how you got some of the people that you got in the first place. You also got Home Depot that came in and did a lot of stuff. I was there when there was over 100 plus people there.
Right.
Putting in sod and building fences, and what else was done while they were there?
Oh my gosh, we have 5 brand new flagpoles.
Wow.
That they put up in the back for each service. We have a brand new patio in the backyard, the landscaping in the front, the picket fences that they put up. They put a brand new fence up around the back of the office area for us. They have given us so much in materials, the glass for all the windows. Over 100 windows have been replaced.
Wow.
They also adopted the second-story window, or cabin rather, put new windows and doors in it, new floors, new ceilings, and redid that whole building for us. It's our only family unit, and last week we moved a family of 5 in that unit.
Wow. That's right in the middle of the whole complex, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Just protected
It's a
right
beautiful building.
It
was 2 cabins that had been adjoined, and so it's like I say, a family of 5 in there, and there's plenty of room, and the kids have a playroom, and they're pretty comfortable in there.
Wow.
So
how do the veterans find out about this location, and how are they screened in, and how is this process done to get them in there? And are these veterans, are they all down and out, or some of them are doing well and they just want to have a place to stay? How does that work?
It's a crisis situation.
Okay.
Okay. One of our veterans came with his family for a job, and when he got here, they had promised him a job and on a ranch and housing. Mm-hmm. And he got here with 3 kids and his wife in the car, and they said, well, the job's here, but we don't have the housing. So it's like you're on your way to a secure future and a job, and then you find yourself homeless. We have other veterans that have other issues where they haven't had the funding, they're evicted, they have health issues. Any day someone can find themselves homeless. The next day you can find yourself homeless.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because of your own doing. And
Right.
so, the veterans, they come in and I hand them like a 56-page packet to fill out. And I tell them, don't let it scare you. I'll know your sock size when you're done. It's very thorough, and it actually was given to us through one of the VA services to kind of compile our own from, and that's what we used as a backing. But they fill it out and they're vetted. They're vetted through the VA services, the DES officer. They're vetted through Veteran Resource Center. If they come to us from one of the church groups, mm-hmm. then we actually do background checks on them, and income proof of income, and get all the information together to find out that it is a real need, that there's something there that we can help with.
Awesome. We're going to take a break, Maggie, and you have so much information that you've shared with us. We're going to come back again and after a break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what how they get in there, some of the people we have right now, what they're struggling with, and your vision of all this. So we'll be back just shortly. Welcome back to Compassion Speaks. My name is Ezra Borrego, and my guest here is Maggie Heath, and we've been talking about the Veterans Village up there in Lakeside. And you've been sharing a few things on how the veterans are able to get in there, and the paperwork and the backgrounds, and even how they were down and out, and how this perfect scenario for them to go have a place to be. So you have a few of them in there right now. How many veterans you have in the cabins right now?
We have 13 veterans. We have 1 spouse and 4 children. And they're all from different scenarios, all from different issues in their life that need to be handled, or they need to have help. And this is a safe place for them to be. Our cabins are individual or family orientated. They're not doubled up, and they have space to grow, space to heal. And we make sure that when they come in, they're clothed, they're fed. We help them to get their benefits if they need benefits. We have one that waited for months for Social Security to get straightened out. Health issues. One gentleman lived way too far off the grid, and he's going through treatments, and it just had to be, he had to be closer to the hospital and stuff, and other issues with family members and things. So we have one veteran that is going to finish her schooling, and then she'll be good to go. She just has 1 more semester, and then she'll be able to get on her feet and take care of her son. So
yeah. So they're in a place where they're there temporarily until they get back on their feet, and they can go and do what they want to do in their life. So they just, everybody, even us that aren't veterans, we have times in our experience of life that something happens, and then
it's
a curveball, and you need help. Yeah.
You need help.
It's always good to have people that are willing. We need each other, and have places like this to be able to be the right scenario for the cause or for that person. And veterans, there are so many veterans. How many veterans do you think are on the mountain?
26,000.
26,000 on the mountain? Mm-hmm. Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, and there are hundreds that are in a scenario where they need help, but a lot of them are skittish of asking for help. They're proud. They don't want a handout, and we don't offer a handout. Our veterans come in, and one of the most important papers in our hand is in our registration packet is what I call a plan of intent. Okay. And when they come in, they have to tell us what they need, what they think they need. Okay. What they think we can do to help them, how long it will take them to get on their feet, and the steps they're going to take to do that. And we evaluate them. I talk to every veteran on that property almost every day. Wow. And they're evaluated, and I don't have to sit them down like a 2-year-old and say, you didn't do this today, or this is what you need to do today. They appreciate where they're at. Their length of stay there varies for their circumstance. They don't pay a penny to be there, but they are required to work on property, and there's
to do what they can.
To do what they can.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a broken back and a broken neck, you can't be lifting.
Right.
So that gentleman does a lot of our sign work and repairs some of our wood furniture that comes into the thrift store. Yeah. If you've got a spinal injury, you can't be doing a lot of stuff. If you've got 90% disability from Agent Orange, there's limitations to everyone that's there. And, I've heard, well, the veterans should be doing this work. There's a lot of heavy work that needs to be done that they can't do. Right. And that's where the volunteers are so important. Yeah. For them to come in when we need, a trailer load of furniture moved or unloaded, when we need, a ditch filled in, or we need, something to that heavy type of work done. we need the younger volunteers and the people that have the strength and the body function that can do it. Every once in a while, having a backhoe there or something would be fantastic. If we could find someone who has a snow plow that would come in when we get 2 or 3 inches of snow and volunteer to plow the driveway for us this winter, that is a need.
I have a few friends that have companies in that area that might be able to help you in that area. You mentioned something very important. You know, the veterans, as they want to have self-worth, they want to continue to do something, as they are able to participate wherever they can, it gives them a self-worth in there, that they're contributing, because they contribute so much to our country. Mm-hmm. And to be able to have other people come in and work side by side, or even just there to serve our veterans, I think it's big for us to be able to do that, because a lot of them didn't get to come home, you know, and these ones that did come home, some of them came home scarred, and they just need that extra love and extra support to let them know that we do care for them, we're there for them, and thank you for serving. And this is such a great thing you have going to show that they are being loved. Mm-hmm. and you can contribute where you can.
And you know, a lot of our veterans are broken. Yeah. You know, and when you get to that point, you don't have self-esteem, you don't feel self-worth, you don't feel like you deserve better. Right. And hopefully when they leave us, they have that feeling of self-worth. They have a job, they have their own apartment or place to live, and they are deserving of it. And several times we've seen veterans, once they get on their feet and they almost sabotage themselves because they just don't have that self-worth. Right. The veterans, when they leave our program, are self-supporting. They have self-esteem and self-worth. When they go into a new apartment on their own, we actually utilize the furniture in their cabin. If there's more or less that they need, we furnish their apartments when they leave. Wow. So when they come into the cabin and it's all furnished, homey and nice with nice items, mm-hmm. New silverware, new pots and pans, then when they leave, they know that's theirs. This is yours.
I didn't know that. That is a neat program.
And they take care of it. The furniture, if they say, I don't like these recliners, I rather have a sofa, we do it. They get the sofa, whatever they need. If they move out and they say, I could use another chair, they have it. Our veterans that have moved on come back and say, hey, I need this or I need that. And that's why we're there. But for them to leave and go into an apartment, you can't just send them into an empty apartment. The bed, right. the furniture goes with them, yeah. And we make sure that they're stable when they leave.
That's powerful. I mean, that's important. And you can't just say, okay, we helped you, well, good luck now. That's not what you're doing. You still have a connection with them.
Right.
So do you also offer them, let them know if anything happens down the road that you're more than welcome to come back?
They can come back. We've had a couple issues where we've had veterans have to go into rehab. We're really proud. We have transitioned 24 veterans since December.
Wow.
Got them on their feet, they're stabilized, they've gone on to what they need to do. And one of the veterans is in a long-term rehab facility, but that's what he needed. We have them in homes and apartments, and VRC comes in, and the Veteran Resource Center helps us help them get in the apartment. They'll help with their first month's rent, turn on their utility deposits, that type of thing. Yeah. We work with the VA, with DES to help them if they're able to work. We work with Tim Jackson at the VA services. If there's issues with their DD-214s, every veteran that comes in is vetted. They have to be registered with the VA, they have to be registered with DES if they can work, and they're registered with the VRC. We work with the churches on the mountain, but we are not affiliated with any other veterans group.
Okay.
We are very, very independent, and I'm really adamant about being independent. And I really think that, as far as paying our utility bills and everything with the thrift store, we've come a long way since December, and to be able to say that we have transitioned 24 veterans from disarray into a lifestyle that they can be proud of and self-supporting.
That is incredible. So, we're going to wrap up in just a little bit. I see your program that you're doing a success and helping those 24 veterans, and there's so many more to help. How can people get a hold of you, Maggie, if they want to come help you at your Veterans Village that would love to give you some support? How would they get a hold of you?
Actually, they can just come on in.
Okay.
Come into the office. I'm there 6 days a week, usually from like 9 to 3, 9 to 4. And they can come in and I'll show them around, give them a tour, and let them see what we're doing.
That would be wonderful. And it's a comfortable place for you to go. You have your own office. Just ask for Maggie Heath right there. They go into the thrift store. They can rummage around in there and then go ask where you're at and have a visit with you. Maggie, thank you so much for coming today, and it's been a pleasure. And maybe we'll have you back as a guest and maybe talk about how it's going maybe 6 months from now.
That'd be nice. Thank you.
You bet. And thanks again for viewing today with Passionate Speaks. And we're so grateful to have Maggie and the things she's doing in our community. We need a lot of people like her. And thank you. Have a good day, everybody.